When Jeremy Renner appeared as a guest on Vanessa Cross's talk show, viewers were expecting a powerful conversation thanks to his candid and sincere style. But Vanessa wasn't looking for inspiration. She was known for shaking up her guests. When Jeremy sat down, his instincts told him something was off. Vanessa held her question cards with a sly smile. What seemed like a simple interview would soon take a different turn. However, what Vanessa didn't know was that a few words from Jeremy would completely change the tone of the night. Those words would stay with everyone. Before we get into the story, don't forget to write in the comments where you're watching from and subscribe if you like stories like this. We've got another special story for you tomorrow. The studio is packed. The stage lights illuminate the large studio, and the set in the middle draws everyone's attention. The audience is whispering, some holding signs that read, "Jeremy, you're in our hearts." Camera crews and producers are finishing their final preparations behind the scenes. The moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. A silent countdown light on the monitors heightens the tension. The flickering of the spotlights hits the curtain behind the stage, adding a cinematic weight to the environment. Then Jeremy Renner appears. His steps are steady but simple. He walks like someone who has seen more in life than just glamour. His black t-shirt, gray leather jacket, and worn jeans reflect his authenticity. There is a tired but sincere smile on his face. The audience erupts into applause, some shouting his name, others unable to take their eyes off him. There is something calm yet powerful about Jeremy's presence. He carries an honesty that silences the crowd. He raises his hand slightly in thanks and takes his seat on the stage. As soon as he sits down, a mix of respect and anticipation fills the room. Across from him stands Vanessa Cross, as cold as ice. Vanessa is known for her sharp questions and ruthless style. Her interviews are famous for catching guests off guard and tearing them apart. In her tailored blazer, with her hair pulled back tightly and cards in her hand, she looks ready for a flawless attack. Her gaze is sharp, and her smile curves into a threatening professional expression. After studying Jeremy for a moment, she leans forward. Her voice is clear and firm. Her first question comes, "Jeremy, you have fame and fortune. Hollywood made you rich, but you're still hanging out in small towns, doing charity work, avoiding the spotlight. Are you really making a difference?" Silence falls over the studio. Everyone waits for the answer. The audience is uncomfortable with the harsh and condescending tone of the question, and whispers rise. Some are curious to hear Jeremy's response, while others wonder how he will handle such a personal question. But Jeremy stands his ground, relaxed. He turns his eyes to Vanessa, a non-mocking, tired but sincere smile appearing on his face. "Vanessa, have you ever thought about how many people feel insignificant every day?" The room suddenly falls silent. The atmosphere becomes heavy. The audience is silent. A few faces change. It is clear that something has affected them. Jeremy's words are simple but powerful. Vanessa raises her eyebrows slightly, surprised that Jeremy remains so calm. However, she is still not satisfied. She flips through the question cards between her fingers, her gaze cold. There is a sharp glint in her eyes indicating that the next question will go deeper. She has not yet made her main move. She leans forward a little, approaching the question that will throw Jeremy off balance. The energy in the studio, which was filled with excitement just a few minutes ago, has now turned into a tense silence. Jeremy's answer is more than just a response. It has struck a chord with the audience. Some turn their heads and look at the person next to them, while others clench their hands in their laps. But this isn't enough for Vanessa Cross. She crosses her legs, straightens her back, and adopts a graceful yet cold posture. A calculated smile appears on her lips. However, her eyes shine with a sharp intent. She is determined to dig deeper. Vanessa slams the next card onto the table. Tension fills the studio. Without hesitation, she asks her question. "Jeremy, you almost lost your life. You thought you'd never see your daughter again. You lost your closest friend. Didn't that destroy you? Didn't you ever feel like everything was just pain?" The question hits the studio like a blow. The audience holds its breath. Some cover their mouths with their hands, others look away. The harshness of the question and Vanessa's insensitive tone have upset many. Jeremy tilts his head slightly, clasping his hands on his knees. Silence spreads like a thick wall. The cameras zoom in on his face. His usually lively and calm eyes now reflect something much deeper. The weight of losses that cannot be put into words, carried by a man who has come back from the brink of life. Vanessa doesn't take her eyes off him. She searches for hesitation, an emotional void, a crack. But Jeremy lifts his eyes, takes a deep breath, and speaks in a calm yet clear voice. Pain didn't break me. It taught me to resist. It showed me that nothing is guaranteed, that you must hold your loved ones close every day, and that true love doesn't fade with time. The room is silent. The audience is engulfed in silence. A woman in the front row pulls a handkerchief from her purse to wipe away her tears. Even those who don't know Jeremy's past feel the truth and weight of his words. The camera turns to Vanessa this time. Her carefully drawn smile fades for a moment. A look of surprise and a hint of regret flits across her face. But Vanessa Cross is not one to back down. She straightens her shoulders, skillfully hides her indecision, and slowly runs her fingers over the question cards. She is searching for a new opening. Vanessa's next move is clear. This time, she intends to strike Jeremy where he least expects it. She still holds a question in her hand that will make him seem insignificant in the eyes of Hollywood. The emotional outburst that just took place in the studio is still lingering. The audience is silent, some still preoccupied with the echoes of Jeremy's words. Vanessa slowly stands up, putting on her professional smile again. She slowly shuffles her cards as if making a random choice. But she has already decided what to ask. She leans forward like a hunter, her eyes focused. Her voice is lower this time, but dangerously calm. Jeremy, you're 50 years old now. Hollywood glorifies youth. It rarely gives old stars a second chance. Aren't you afraid of becoming irrelevant? The audience reacts immediately. A murmur rises. Some look at each other in shock. Others frown at Vanessa's directness. Jeremy doesn't answer right away. He slowly rubs his fingers together. His gaze drifts away for a moment. It's as if he's remembering a moment only he knows. Vanessa catches his pause. Inside, she thinks, this is it. But Jeremy looks up. There is a clarity mixed with peace in his eyes. Vanessa, have you ever noticed that a building is stronger after it's been rebuilt following a fire? The audience falls silent. Vanessa's eyes narrow. Jeremy continues, his voice calm but meaningful. Sometimes you only realize the value of something after it's broken. Growing older doesn't mean losing value. Sometimes the strongest things are the ones that shine the brightest. Applause fills the room. Some people stand up, cheering. That's Jeremy! It's not your age speaking, it's your heart. Vanessa freezes for a moment. The control of the interview has slipped from her grasp. The prepared expression on her face melts away. Her smile fades, replaced by an indescribable mix of astonishment and perhaps deep respect. This answer has been more impactful than any carefully crafted question could ever be. Jeremy never attacks directly. He responds not with aggression, but with his stance. He turns Vanessa's question around, but does so clearly and sincerely that the entire structure of the interview is shaken. With this answer, the structure collapses, and the planned attacks lose their meaning. Vanessa takes a deep breath, trying to regain control. She glances at her cards, but the words no longer seem like anything more than paper. She realizes she needs a new approach. If she wants to unsettle Jeremy, she must look not at the surface, but at the past. At that moment, Jeremy's words still echo in the studio. His last answer has affected not only Vanessa, but also the audience. The people sitting among the applause now look at him differently. Jeremy has not merely answered the questions, he has transformed each one into an inner strength. But Vanessa does not give up. That is not her style. Losing control fuels her anger even more. Her program is famous not for inspiring interviews, but for moments that expose people's weaknesses. She has to get back in the game. She picks up her next card. She waits as if undecided, but she already knows what to ask. She leans forward. Her voice is firm this time, but her heart is cold. Jeremy, your father abandoned you. Your mother raised you alone. Life hasn't been easy on you. Have you never felt anger? Have you never even been hurt by your mother? The question cuts through the air. The audience shifts. Some hold their breath. Others feel Vanessa has crossed the line. But Jeremy is prepared. He seems to have sensed this attack coming. He sits up straight, his gaze wandering for a moment. For a moment, it's as if he's back on the streets of his childhood. Then he shakes his head slightly. Without looking at Vanessa, his voice echoes. My mother showed me what life is really about. She didn't cry when she gave birth to me. That's why I never learned to give up. A silence falls over the room. Some audience members wipe their eyes, others shake their heads. Vanessa is not prepared for this response. Jeremy is determined not to play her game. He transforms every blow into his own story, turning it into strength. And with each blow, he takes a little more control away from Vanessa. Jeremy takes a deep breath. Instead of fixing his gaze on Vanessa, he shifts his eyes beyond the studio to a time that is invisible but still alive within him. It's as if he's remembering an old sidewalk, a cold morning, his mother's tired hands. Then a thoughtful smile appears on his lips, carrying both the weight and the strength of the past. My father taught me something, he says. Vanessa blinks, unsure of what to say. She hadn't expected this answer. Jeremy turns his eyes to her and continues. He showed me what a man I never wanted to be looks like. His voice softens slightly, but his words cut deeper. My mother taught me how to fight. Sometimes surviving means not screaming, but waiting. A deep silence falls over the studio. One audience member wipes away tears, and a young woman in the front row bows her head. The audience is shaken by the simplicity of Jeremy's words. His past is not only painful, but also full of resilience. Vanessa hesitates. This interview was supposed to be a chess game under her control, but Jeremy has removed the pieces from the board, ignored the rules, and turned the game into the reality of being human. He has met every attack not with defense, but with honesty. Vanessa's fingers glide over the cards. Her lips part, but the words stay there. Her planned tactics are rendered ineffective by Jeremy's sincerity, but she doesn't give up. Her gaze returns to Jeremy. This time, there is no familiar mockery on her face. Instead, something darker, more personal has taken its place. The only thing left that can truly shake him, touch his heart, is the shadow of death. Vanessa now holds the final card. A question that could expose Jeremy's deepest fear, perhaps silence him for the first time. The atmosphere in the studio shifts. This is no longer just an interview. It is transformed into something else, a more intimate, more raw, more human confrontation. Jeremy Renner has answered every question posed to him thus far with a composure reminiscent of his war experience. His words are not poetry, they are life itself, real, simple, and searing. With each answer, the audience grows quieter, their gazes turning to admiration. But Vanessa Cross has not given up yet. Her mind is still working, searching for the next move, the next psychological opening. As an interviewer who has broken down the strongest minds and most controlled individuals over the years, she has found someone who has completely shattered the rules. She throws her shoulders back. She adjusts the collar of her jacket. There is no rush in her eyes now. Only one last card, one last chance. Not to win this interview, but to get an answer. Perhaps for the first time. As Jeremy sits silently across from her, Vanessa realizes that an unfamiliar feeling is rising inside her. It's not anger or arrogance. It's a strange disappointment towards someone who isn't playing her game. For years, she had made a habit of exposing the masks of the famous, but Jeremy wasn't wearing one. And that made him vulnerable, but also invincible. Vanessa chooses her final question. This time, she doesn't smile. There's no mockery in her eyes. She leans forward slightly. Her voice is soft but icy. Jeremy, have you ever thought about it? Aren't you afraid that one day your time will be up, that it will all come to an end? This is not a question about success or career. It is aimed at mortality. There is complete silence in the studio. This question is different. There is nowhere to run. The audience holds its breath. Jeremy lowers his head. He doesn't look away, but he doesn't answer right away either. He doesn't smile or defend himself. He just takes a deep breath. The expression on his face is something that hasn't been seen before. A look with an unfathomable depth. Vanessa hesitates for a moment. She thinks she caught him off guard. Inside, she thinks, this is it. But Jeremy raises his head. His voice is almost a whisper at first. Vanessa, do you know the difference between fear and faith? Vanessa blinks for the first time. This time, she is truly caught off guard. There is something so human in his answer that she cannot escape it. Vanessa presses her lips tightly together. She had expected resistance from Jeremy, perhaps anger, perhaps evasive answers. But what she got was none of those things. For the first time, she was truly caught off guard. Her eyes fall on the question cards in her hands. She searches for a way to regain control, but the words on the cards suddenly seem empty and meaningless. This is no longer a battlefield. Jeremy has taken her chessboard and slowly placed it aside, replacing it with a simple wooden table. There are only two people left in the room. All plans, all strategies have lost their meaning. This is no longer about ratings or superiority. It is about life itself. As Vanessa glances over her notes, a sentence catches her mind. One last question. Perhaps the simplest, perhaps the heaviest. She raises her eyes to Jeremy. This time her voice is almost a whisper, but every word is as heavy as lead. What if one day you die and no one remembers you? The weight of the question spreads throughout the studio in an instant. There is no sound from the audience. This sentence is more dangerous than any question she has asked so far. Jeremy does not answer immediately. His eyelids grow heavy. He takes a deep breath. His shoulders carry the weariness of a man who has carried a heavy burden. There is no fear in his eyes, only a deep awareness. A smile appears on his face, but it is not a smile of victory. It is the smile of a man who has made peace with time, of someone who knows what life is. Finally, he speaks. His voice is as simple and clear as it has been from the beginning. People often think they live to be remembered, but I believe that what we feel leaves a mark. And sometimes, that mark doesn't need a name. A deep silence falls over the studio. Most of the audience doesn't even breathe. One woman brings her hand to her mouth, another wipes away a tear. The power of words comes not from their volume, but from their truth. At that moment, Vanessa is no longer a journalist behind a microphone, but an individual facing life. She doesn't take her eyes off Jeremy, but the words no longer come to her lips. For the first time, perhaps in many years, the silence weighs heavily on her. "What will they remember about me?" she had asked. There is a moment of silence. Then Jeremy adds, without taking his eyes off Vanessa, "The real question is, Vanessa, what will they remember about you?" The words hit the studio like bullets. Suddenly, there is a noticeable movement among the audience. Some breathe lightly, others lean back in their chairs. Others turn their heads toward her, as if realizing for the first time that she is the real target of this game. The camera zooms in on Vanessa's face. The woman who once questioned everyone now seems frozen in the face of a single question. Her lips part, but no sound comes out. Her fingers clench the cards on her knees, but her eyes are still on Jeremy. Perhaps for the first time, she has no prepared answer. The silence stretches on, and then something unexpected happens. A single tear rolls down Vanessa's cheek. She doesn't wipe it away. She doesn't hold it back. The camera captures her throat tightening, her breathing changing. The heavy thing settling inside her is invisible, but palpable. Jeremy looks at her not like someone who has won a victory, but like someone who understands another human being. He slowly stands up. There is no applause. There are no cheers, but the silence in the studio is no longer emptiness. It is respect. The audience stands silently in their seats. Some wipe away tears, others sink into deep thought. Vanessa Cross sits motionless in her chair. The table in front of her, the cards in her hand, all the defenses she has built over the years are now silent. Perhaps for the first time, she realizes she doesn't need any of them. The cameras are still rolling. The world is watching, but she no longer thinks about the screen, the headlines, or the ratings. Only herself, and Jeremy's voice still echoes in her head. What will they remember about you? She looks at her reflection in the shiny surface of the table. A woman who has spent years gaining power through sharp words, tough questions, and the weaknesses of others. Now she is alone with her own silence. The screen goes dark. The final message appears. Life isn't about how long we live, but the impact we leave behind. Soft, melancholic music begins to play in the background, and the video ends. If this story moved you, don't forget to leave a comment and share it.